Beautiful Las Vegas. Welcome to the Eddie Hughes Show.
It's the Eddie Hughes Show. Whoa, whoa. It's the Eddie Hughes Show.
It's the Eddie Hughes Show.
Eddie Hughes Show.
The Eddie Hughes Show. Eddie Hughes Show.
It's the Eddie Hughes Show.
The Eddie Hughes Show. Eddie Hughes Show.
I'm your host, Eddie Fuse, and today's guest we have in the building, Brandon Fazzolari. How are you today?
Hey, phenomenal.
Glad to have you in the building, man.
I'm glad to be in the building.
Seriously, man. So, how are you today?
Oh, better than Ezra.
So, Brandon, man, what brings you in today, man? I've heard a lot of great things about you floating around Zappos,
Oh,
man,
my
about
word.
you having, like, amazing knowledge and
Oh.
amazing skills and capabilities.
Incomparable.
It's incomparable.
Impeccable.
But before we jump into your talents, let's
Yeah.
talk about where you're from originally.
I was born and raised in West Seneca, New York, which is a suburb of the great city of Buffalo.
Really?
Yep.
So,
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of Buffalo, New York. I had a friend that actually, I played ball when he stayed in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what kind of ball?
Football.
Okay, good. 'Cause,
Yeah.
They have football there.
So how long have you been residing in Las Vegas?
Since 07.
07? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. This is my hometown now, though.
It's your hometown.
Yeah,
Are you a
yeah.
Knights fan?
Oh, yeah, I went to game 2.
Go Knights, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's funny because it's really rekindled my love for hockey,
Yeah.
I grew up on hockey, but then through the years, I became more of a basketball guy. And this year, when the basketball playoffs are so great, I'm back into hockey.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I could do both.
So what made you get into sports trivia?
It really starts when I was a child growing up in Buffalo, because, in Buffalo during the winter, you're stuck inside a lot,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of bad weather.
Yeah.
So I taught myself how to read from using the Buffalo News sports section, and I'd lay it out on the floor, and I'd read stats, and I'd try to figure out, what they meant, like for baseball and for like football and stuff. And so, but the thing I remember vividly,
Right.
was when the 1981-82 NFL playoffs. Do you want to hear about it?
Yeah.
It might take me a few minutes.
Go ahead,
to
man. I'm here.
explain.
We got nothing but time. This is why you're
Yeah,
here.
listen to this. 81-82 playoffs was some of the best football you could ever see. See, they started with the wild card game with my hometown Bills facing the New York Jets in the early game. Opening kickoff, the Jets fumble. Charles Romes takes it in for a touchdown. The Bills go up 24-0. Then it became a turnover fest. They went back and forth. The Jets almost caught up, but former Rams safety, Pro Bowl safety, Bill Simpson picked off a Richard Todd pass with 10 seconds left to give the Bills the 31-27 win. Later that day was the Eagles-Giants game.
Right.
The Eagles were the defending NFC champions, and they were facing the Giants. And I don't remember a lot about this game other than the Eagles completely botched a kickoff, and the Giants scored on that play, so the Giants advanced. Now, the second week of that year's playoffs are so exciting to me, so interesting, and you'll remember some of these games.
Yeah.
The games you won't remember is Dallas beat Tampa Bay 38-0, and San Francisco beat the Giants 38-24. The games you might remember is Cincinnati beat Buffalo 28-21. That's when they had Ken Anderson and Pete Johnson, and their coach was Forrest Gregg.
Yeah.
The Bills really choked away a chance to tie that game late. But the greatest game of that weekend was the Dolphins-Chargers game,
Yeah.
played in the Orange Bowl. 90-degree weather, 90% humidity. The Chargers got up 24-0 with some great plays by Wes Chandler and James Brooks. You might remember these.
I remember
these
Chandler and
guys.
James Brooks, yeah.
Great players. Dan Fouts had a great first half. So what happens is the Dolphins come back. They bench David Woodley. They bring in Don Strock. They throw this incredible hook and lateral right at the end of the half. They cut the lead to 24-14. Miami takes control in the second half, actually takes the lead. But then San Diego comes back because of an amazing performance by tight end Kellen Winslow.
I remember
It was an
Winslow. Yeah, he's a
epic
beast. Kevin
performance.
Winslow's a beast. Yeah.
Yeah, epic performance. And they won in overtime, and the Chargers advanced. So the AFC Championship game was San Diego at Cincinnati, and it was played in like 50 below conditions. Now keep in mind, San Diego had just come off this win in 90-degree weather the week before in Miami, and now they're playing in 50 below in Cincinnati.
Right.
They didn't have a chance. Cincinnati was a better team anyway, because they beat them earlier in the season in San Diego 40-17. So they were better anyway. Later that day, San Francisco played Dallas
Wow.
in a game that everybody remembers for the catch by Dwight Clark in the corner of the end zone. But San Francisco didn't play a great game. They turned the ball over 6 times in that game, and they almost blew it at the end. But they won 28-27, and it's one of the most important games in football history when you really think about it, because Dallas up to that point was America's team. They were one of the great teams of all time under Coach Landry. They had Too Tall Jones. They had Tony Dorsett, Randy White. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So San Francisco beat Dallas. So it was San Francisco and Cincinnati in the Super Bowl, and it was Super Bowl 16. And I still remember watching this game, reading about it in the Buffalo News, like so vividly. It was the first Super Bowl I really remember watching. And San Francisco was the better team because of their defense. This wasn't a great Joe Montana team, but they came through and they won, and 49ers went on to have a dynasty.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
So
that's how I got into sports.
So I got a couple dates I'm going to throw at you, man.
Yeah.
Who won the Super Bowl in 1991?
Oh, you have to bring up the Super Bowl in 1991.
Yep.
January 1991 was when the Giants beat the Bills 20-19. I know you have to bring up my hometown Bills. Scott Norwood missed the last-second field goal. The MVP of the game was Otis Anderson. The game was played in Tampa Stadium. The touchdowns were scored by Don Smith, who only played for the Bills for 1 season.
Wow.
And the other touchdown was scored by Thurman Thomas. Was the first play of the 4th quarter.
Thurman Thomas was a running back.
He was fantastic.
He was an animal.
He had a great game that day. And I think if Coach Levy would have ran Thomas more, they would have won the game. But it happens. You know, they lost the game. Coach Belichick, really.
Belichick, he's still out here. Yeah, he's still coaching right now.
He is, but at the time he was defensive coordinator for the Giants, and whoo!
Wow, so he's been in the league for quite some time.
Yeah, well, he started with the Colts in '77 as like some sort of weird, you know what they start these kids doing, like grab coffee for the coach or something.
Yeah. He was just basically like a rookie, and then he blew up to be the mogul that he is today.
I will tell you what really sold football on me, or sports on me. What I knew that it was my really what I loved. It was during the 1994 Winter Olympics, and Tanya Harding was really popular at the time, right? And so I watched all the Olympics like everybody else did. You know, people that normally don't watch the Winter Olympics were watching these Winter Olympics for Tanya Harding. So what happened was the gold medal winner was a girl named Oksana Bayul from the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. You probably don't remember her.
I remember her. I do.
You
remember
do?
Yeah, I do remember.
He remembers her.
Yeah.
Anyway, Oksana Bayul was visiting the White House, President Clinton, about a month after the Olympics. They were going to salute her or whatever for skating well.
For skating well.
So I was a senior in high school, and I had a project where our class had a project where we had to write a letter to a politician, right? Mm-hmm. And so everybody's like writing the county executive in Buffalo and West Seneca about potholes, because that's a big thing in Buffalo. Everybody goes crazy over potholes. You know, to this day, like potholes is like the main story in Buffalo. You know, we're in Las Vegas, we're talking about the Mandalay Bay and the Golden Knights. In Buffalo, lead story, a lot of potholes.
That's a small town.
Yeah. So anyway. I decided, since Oksana Bayul was visiting the White House, that I would write a letter to President Clinton to tell him that I would like to meet Oksana Bayul. So I wrote, "Dear President Clinton, I understand that Oksana Bayul, gold medal winning figure skater, will be visiting the White House, and if you could, please pass along my greetings and my phone number."
Yeah.
Now, I didn't hear from Oksana Bayul, but I did get a form letter from the White House expressing gratitude for me supporting President Clinton.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. So, 1999, who won the Super Bowl?
Oh, that was another game I didn't really enjoy. It was the Broncos. They won their second straight with Elway. It was his last game.
Oh,
they beat the Dirty Birds
and
the Atlanta Falcons. And Elway was the MVP, actually. Actually played a really good game, you know.
What was the Super Bowl that the Atlanta Falcons lost and they were up like 24-zip? What Super Bowl was that?
They were winning 28-3 against New England.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice memory.
Yeah.
I love that Super Bowl.
They blew it.
I love that.
They blew it,
I love that. I love that game.
Well, look, we'll be right back. This is Eddie Fuse Show. Brendan Faz.
Burners, broads, fast, cars,
Type on the beat.
bananas in hand. Oh, no. Oh no no no. Oh no 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 no. They kill when I say so. Oh no 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 no. They kill when I say so.
And we're back. This is your man Eddie Fuse. I got Brendan Faz in the building.
Hi.
Yo, B. So I got to ask you another question,
Please.
man. Growing up in New York, man, I know that Buffalo, New York, right?
Yeah, Buffalo,
Right,
yeah.
Buffalo, New York. The weather's kind of cold there. It's kind of. How's the weather?
The weather's cold, but I want to tell you about a typical September day
All right,
in
check.
Buffalo, if that's okay.
I got you.
You got about 3 minutes?
Yeah.
I'm going to do about 6 impressions now.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm not good at impersonations, but I'm good at impressions. And so when I was a child growing up, I would look out in the backyard. I'd see my father, trying to be handy, and he wasn't. I think he had a saw, but he didn't know how to use it. If he did use it, he would have broke it. But anyway, he would connect the sprinkler. There would be flies in the glass window. There'd be squirrels eating nuts. My pregnant mother would be in the kitchen with the blender. So those 5 things, I'm going to show you what happened. And as a child in Buffalo. First, here's how the sprinkler sounded. That's a sprinkler. Now, there's also a fly against the glass window, and it's buzzing around. And then it stops, and it does one of these things. It rubs its wrists together. Have you ever seen a fly rub their wrists together?
No.
Do flies have wrists?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, you're from the desert. And then there's
I'm from Detroit. Yeah.
They have flies in Detroit, right?
It's pretty cold there.
Then there's the squirrel. And squirrels, if you've ever watched them eat a nut, they're always petrified that somebody's going to take their nut. So they're like... You ever see this?
Yeah.
Then there was like a dead mouse in the yard, and he's doing one of these.
And this is all happening simultaneously.
All the same time. And most dead rodents look the same. Did you ever notice that they have the same look? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the insides, my mom, with the blender, and I don't know if you've worked blenders much, but they have like settings on the blender, and some of them, are legitimate, like mix and stir. Some of them go way over the top, like annihilate and mutilate and destroy. And then some of them are words I don't even know what they mean, like puree or whatever.
Puree.
Yeah. So like I'll do 3 settings on a blender, 2 of which are easy, mix and stir, and the 3rd of which is dominate or something like that. So I could only do 3 because if I do any more, my head is gonna decapitate itself and end up in Lake Mead.
Right.
So here's the blender. Okay. Oh man, that's a hard one. I'm seeing stars.
Right. That's a lot of straining.
But here's what I also noticed. My poor mother, after all this activity, she has to take a break, So she's pregnant, like I'm saying, and one of the things I think is one of the ugliest things in life is watching a pregnant woman sit down.
Right.
So this is how it typically looks. And she would sit down like this. You ever see this? Then they have to bend their knees a little, and then they kind of just do one of these. Now, after all this was happening, I went to school,
Yeah.
And it happened to be picture day.
Right.
So I don't know what's up with these photographers for picture day, but they really want you to have either like a giraffe's neck or like a, what's that? The accordion.
Yeah.
But they get your neck up so high, and then they have you sit in such an awkward position. So they'll start you like this, right? Then they'll pull your neck way out. And then they'll tilt your head. So you end up like, no wonder these poor kids are like, going crazy in school because the picture day. Well, anyway, that's a typical day.
Brendan Faz, man.
Yeah, that's a typical day in West Seneca.
So, Being the NFL senior writer for, what is this, forwardmile.com?
Forwardmile.com.
Forwardmile.
I'm the top NFL writer on staff.
How does it feel about that? How do you feel about that? Yeah?
It was all right.
Is it pretty cool?
I mean, I'll do what they want.
Do you ever get to meet any of these people that you write about?
No.
Would you like to meet any of them?
I mean, it'd be okay. When I was a kid, I met a lot because I was like a journalism and broadcasting major in Buffalo, and I do shows like as Dr. Superbowl. I interviewed Pat Summerall once, even who was like fantastic.
That's what's up.
Greatest broadcaster I think of all time. But right now, I'm just trying to throw in history pieces. I'm trying to teach the young people about football history, because this website is excellent for draft analysis. It's excellent for fantasy advice, and I'm not good at any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you about is what used to happen. Like what?
Right.
Like I could tell you. Oh, here's something I've been doing lately. You want to hear about it?
Yeah,
Okay. So this is. You have time for this? Okay. So when so I go up to the cash register at Albertsons now, and I get my total, and they'll say like numbers, and like my head goes crazy because when I hear numbers, I'm like, oh my God, I got to tell this person about it.
Right.
So this one time I went up to the cash register, and the cashier says, your total's 1978, and then I'm like, oh, 1978, like all these thoughts.
Everything that happened in 1978.
All these thoughts, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Super Bowl 12. I'm thinking about Dallas beating Denver 27-10, and Harvey Martin and Randy White are the MVP. It's the first Super Bowl played indoors. Denver had 8 turnovers. Efren Herrera had the kicker for the Cowboys, was 2 for 5 kicking in the first half. I'm thinking about how the Yankees beat the Dodgers for the second straight year in the World Series. I'm thinking about how the Montreal Canadiens won their 3rd Stanley Cup in 4 years. I'm thinking about how the Washington Bullets beat the Seattle Supersonics in the NBA Finals. I'm thinking about how Affirmed beat Alydar in the Triple Crown. I'm thinking about Grease being a top movie that year. I'm thinking about Deer Hunter. I'm thinking about Jimmy Carter. And all this stuff's coming to my mind. And so I start telling the cashier, and she looks at me like a lizard's falling out of my ear. Like, where are you coming up with this? Then I had this one guy, though. He was like a 50-year-old guy, dude.
Yeah.
But I didn't give him any knowledge because he looked like some of his hobbies may have been the same as like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
So I just skipped past the trivia with him. And
We're gonna move along. We're moving right along.
I'm not gonna pick on 50-year-old people working as cashiers, believe me, because I'm 42 and I live with my parents and I work at a call center. So, sometimes in life things don't work out exactly as you planned.
Well, look, Brendan Faz, man. Do you have any shout-outs? Any people that you want to shout out? Anybody that you want to say hello to? What's up to?
Oh, they know who they are.
Do you want to give out your social media contacts or anything like that?
Oh, I'm at @spot_Bills on the Twitter. And you could go to forwardmile.com and look up my articles. They're great history pieces about football. If you like football history, you'll love my writing. If you like comedy, you'll like my writing. And if you like Italian, oh, by the way, my last name, Fazzolari, it means, when translated to English, her mustache is thicker than yours.
Fazzolari in English, her mustache is thicker than yours. Well, look, this is the end of the Eddie Fuse Show. We're wrapping it up with Brenda Fazzolari. Her mustache is thicker than yours. And we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Peace.
Beautiful Las Vegas. Welcome to the Eddie Hughes Show.
It's the Eddie Fuse Show.
Whoa, whoa.
It's the Eddie Fuse Show.
It's the Eddie Fuse Show.
Eddie Fuse Show.
The Eddie Fuse Show. Eddie Fuse Show.
Eddie Fuse Show.
The Eddie Fuse Show. Eddie Fuse
Tune in.
Show.